Morning, folks. Starting off with the chemical hazmat in Australia, they actually say that this was pretty widespread in the area of Portland, around that port. If you live around the port and are feeling any kind of dizziness or headache symptoms, seek medical attention. We had a golden algae outbreak in Texas. It's not necessarily dangerous to humans, but it could affect a mass fish die-off. We did have minor earthquakes in both Oklahoma and Virginia last night, and joining the Cleveland volcano on watch up in those islands in Alaska is the Kanaga volcano after some minor harmonic tremors last night. Folks, this is just a quick warning that if you are going to keep abreast of what's happening in the Middle East, you do need to listen to what everybody is saying, listen to all of the facts and everyone's different opinions. That includes the Israelis, the Iranians, the Russians, the Chinese, the other Arab states, and the United States. Get all the facts. What you're looking at here, folks, is the real-time magnetosphere simulation. Some call it the NICT. It's a Japanese model. It's pretty quiet right here, but as you can see the dynamic pressure beginning to rise. This is a coronal hole stream that actually arrived about 12 to 24 hours later than we thought. But it did affect a pretty good pressure here on the magnetosphere simulation. You can see on the solar wind telemetry from ACE the speed there in the yellow and the density there in the orange. The yellow is still rising. We had a spike briefly there in the solar wind density where we had up to 20-25 protons per cubic centimeter. That did cause a brief geomagnetic storm, as you can see there in the red. The Canadian chain of magnetometers is showing a bit of disturbance as well. The HARP fluxgate magnetometer is showing the disturbance in the outermost magnetic layer. Same thing here on the GOES magnetometer. Interestingly, on the HARP induction magnetometer, which registers the resonance of the actual planet from the energy that is inducted into the Earth, is showing the disturbance there. And it's not just our magnetosphere, folks, it's our ionosphere as well. Solar plasma did penetrate and juice up the total electron content. And as you can see, the solar wind speed is still rising. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. In addition to the solar wind we're also watching this solar active region that kind of came out of nowhere. NOAA did not number it or give it a magnetic classification last night, but it did give us our first C flare that we've seen in a number of days, and that is confirmed here on the GOES X-ray flare monitor. You can see it right there. That was the flare. This is what we showed last night. You can see it had just kind of popped up, but it was already beta classification, and now that it has had a few hours to mature, we can be pretty sure that we're going to need to watch this thing for a few days. Folks, we have another coronal hole that is going to be turning towards an Earth-facing position in a couple of days. That's the dark one right there. But do you notice this line of magnetic filaments right here? This is pretty much just one line, and it goes all the way back around the sun and loops all the way back to the front. Let's hope that thing stays stable, folks. Last but not least, what we're going to show you here, that solar active region right there, you're going to see the flare and a little eruption that came out of it right at the same time. That's the news, folks. Be safe.